So I'm gonna tell this story. It's gonna be a kind of a long video, but it's a story about 4 years ago and how I got in the position I'm in right now. So I basically left the hometown that I lived in. Well, I left everything I knew. You know what I'm saying? I left my hometown 4 years ago to go move to California, and I didn't really disclose to people why I was leaving, but it was just like, okay, I got sick of everybody. And then it was like, I got sick of being misunderstood and people just still never understanding me, but have known me my whole life and still don't know like who I am yet. You know what I'm saying? And it's like, that's a thing. Like, you could be around people your whole life and they still don't get you. And I've always been like the black sheep and misunderstood in my family anyway, but I was in my hometown and everybody just basically, like, I felt like they was suffocating me. You know what I'm saying? Like, but suffocated me in a bad way. Like, you know what I'm saying? I don't mean like showing me like an adequate example of love. I mean just like putting it on heavy and not, and their actions not backing the shit up. So it got to the point where like I be telling myself, like, if people that I say I give a fuck about and say I love ever get me to the point where I want to harm them, I gotta get the fuck away from them. So I reached that point in my life in 2020, so I had to get the fuck on. So I saw an opportunity to go to California, and it was like, okay, I'm looking at it like, okay, I'm gonna go to California, start over, find me a plug, and boss all the way up. That was my plan. And then the pandemic happened. So I didn't really get to move around and rub shoulders with the people I intended on rubbing shoulders with on my trip to California, because it was like they had the mandate to stay at home, and I really couldn't move around how I wanted to, just because I was in unfamiliar territory and I ain't really know how to move out there. So I went out there with some family, you know what I'm saying, thinking, okay, I'ma just stay with them, stack my bread, and then I'm gonna get the fuck on. You know what I'm saying? So I go there, I'm only there like 5-6 months, you know what I'm saying? And then like shit was going cool, but then it was like my money started running low, so I'm like, okay, I need to do something. You know what I'm saying? So I'm really just trying to go hard on running my business and you know what I'm saying, getting my shit going like that and just figure my business out. Though I accepted a job and shit out there too, but I never did a day because it wasn't an essential business. You know, they only had people doing essential shit going to work. So I never went to work. I'm out there. Shit was going straight, but then like I said, my money started getting low. So it's like I left my own shit, all my own shit. I gave up my own shit. You know what I'm saying? I moved out of my place. I lived in my apartment for 8 years. You know what I'm saying? I lived in the apartment that I moved out of in 2020 when my lease got up. But I lived in that apartment for 8 years by myself. So I left all my own shit for an opportunity to go have a new start in a new city. And I thought it was a good idea just because it was like, okay, well, it's family and it's a temporary situation for me. Like, it was never, I never moved to California I didn't go to California to live off no fucking body and live with nobody. So I go there and shit just not really, it ain't really going how I wanted it to go, but I'm just still trying to be optimistic and make the best out of the situation, because I'm there and shit, I live there now. So it was like, motherfucker gotta make it work or I'm not finna sit around and complain. So shit, I was making it work, you know what I'm saying? Did a mind shift change, a mindset change, and became more optimistic and start just working on my mental health for real and try to unpack some trauma and issues and shit I had. I used all of this time to do that and create some shit that I always wanted to do just because the idea came about. So in the midst of doing so, I thought the people that I was there with were supportive and on my side with what I was going there to do because that's the picture they tried to paint, you know. But then I started noticing, like, when my money got low and I ran out of money, I started seeing motherfuckers playing all these little bitch ass games and shit. You know what I'm saying? Like on some weird shit, bro. Like basically just selling me a dream just to basically keep me there type shit. But it's like, man, I'm trying to make my own moves. Like, I'm not used to depending on nobody else to do shit for me. You know what I'm saying? I'm used to doing it myself. So, you know, time going by, they telling me they gonna do shit not happening. So I'm bringing it up like, bro, what's good? Like you said you was gonna, and then there's an excuse every time. So it's like, okay. So then I start peeping and I'm like, okay, well, I'm starting to see what they own. So it's like, okay, I'm not gonna ask them for shit else. And then when they telling me they gonna do something, I'm just brushing it off. Like, he like, oh, I'm serious. And I'm like, yeah, all right. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't really care because I already see like you not on the shit you say you on. So anyway, fast forward to, you know, I make music and shit. My cousin was like, oh man, I rock with your music. You talented. I want to invest in you with the woo. So I'm like, cool. I never had nobody want to invest in what I had going on musically. So it was like, okay, it seemed like a good idea to me. So I'm out there. I'm like, cool. Everything was going decent. So then he put me on to a pastor. He put me on to Jamal Bryant, and I'm listening to, mind you, I stopped really going to church. I was trying to get closer to God and all of that too. So he put me on this pastor, and I literally locked in every Sunday. I've been watching Jamal Bryant every day, every week since the day I started watching him 4 years ago. So I've been watching it ever since. So now, I heard a message on top of a message. If that don't sound crazy to you, if it do, oh well, it is what it is. So I heard a message that told me when to come to Atlanta and the date. That's it. So I literally told my cousin, like, hey cuz, I gotta go to Atlanta. And he like, well, I don't want to go to Atlanta. I didn't leave Atlanta on good terms. And I'm thinking to myself, like, who the fuck said you coming to Atlanta? I said, I need to go to Atlanta. Okay, cool. So I'm telling him I need to come here. And I'm like, hey, just shoot me the money for the ticket. I'll pay you back for the ticket type shit. So he tell me like, oh, well, we can't afford the ticket to Atlanta. It's my birthday coming up. I'm like, what the fuck? So me, like, and I don't got a lot of space. I'm gonna have to elaborate on the story at a different time, but I'm just trying to give you all the short version just to give you the story. So anyway, we go, and I'm like, okay, cool. So I walk off like, all right, don't worry about it. I'm gonna get to Atlanta on my own. So I walk off after he tell me his birthday coming up, and they can't afford to give me the ticket to Atlanta or whatever. So I'm like, okay, cool. So I'm gonna keep jumping around and going back just for lack of space. So I walk back in there and I ask his wife, I said, shit, how bad you want to go to Atlanta? Because she told me she never been. She told me she never been to Atlanta, and I'm like, well, that nigga grew up here. How you never been here? But anyway, she told me she never been, so I go and ask her. I'm like, well, shit, how bad you want to go to Atlanta? And his wife said, well, why you asking him? I never been. And I said, I wasn't talking to him. So then he like, well, why you asking my wife woo woo woo? So I'm like, shit, you want to tell him or you want me to tell him? So then the bitch try to act like she don't know what I'm talking about.
Don't take that long.
So then, when she tried to play me like I'm stupid, I was going to get them Glocks for him. I was going to get that Glock for them motherfuckers, but I couldn't get to them. So I'm like, damn. So I'm mad. I'm frustrated. I want to do something to both of them. You know what I'm saying? So In the midst, I had some packages coming. Some lady wrote me on Facebook and tell me like she found my package somewhere. And I'm like, well, where did you find my package at? Like, mind you, I had only been in California for a couple months, but I know I could figure my way around somewhere quick. You know what I'm saying? So I peeped where she told me she found my package at, and I'm like, oh, his man stay over there. Where she told me she found my package at. So I'm like, oh, these motherfuckers stealing from me too. So I walk out the room and I'm like, man, y'all can have all that shit. And I slam the door and I hear all the pictures falling off the wall and shit. So I leave, I walk around for like 4 hours. Then my phone just steady sending me these weird notifications, like talking about a fire and all of this weird shit. So as I'm walking around, I see some nigga and I pull his car door and the motherfucker just so happened to be open. So I hopped in his shit and I said, hey, take me to this address. Some random nigga. I get in his car and I say, hey, take me to this address. And he did the shit. So we driving around this shit. Couldn't find the address, so I'm like, okay, fuck it. So I tell him what was going on and I'm like, bro, I don't know what the fuck y'all got going on, but I was just telling him the shit I seen and shit. So we keep going over there. I dip. Like I'm just by myself. He tried to pull up on me trying to talk to me. I'm like, man, I don't want to talk, bro. Like by then I still wasn't over the fact what they did, so I really still wanted to do something to the nigga. So I'm like, get away from me, my nigga, like, cause I be done did it to you right now. And I'm like, I'm emotional about it, so I ain't really know like even why I wanted to do something to the nigga. So I keep it moving. You know what I'm saying? I'm just out trying to clear my head. So then I'm on the way walking back. We get there and he pull up on me like some hours later, and I finally get in the car like I'm calm now. But it took me some hours, like 3 or 4 hours to calm down for real. Like, cause I was hot. Like, I really wanted somebody to die for real, just being honest. Like, literally, if anybody would have came at me wrong in California that day, I probably would have just killed some random people just because I was that upset and I was that mad and I was on that. I really wanted somebody to die that day. So I didn't tell him that his wife tried to come on to me, but the bitch tried to act stupid. So then he come in the room one day with a ticket. He come in the room one day with a ticket, and I'm like, oh, okay, appreciate you. Like, yeah. No, he tell me like, oh yeah, I'm gonna help you get to it. He said, oh yeah, okay, we figured out, oh, I'm gonna help you with the woo. So he come in the room one day with a ticket, but the ticket is to Milwaukee and not Atlanta. And I'm like, why is the ticket to Milwaukee? We didn't even talk about me going back home. I was only looking for a plane ticket to get here. So he said, well, my birthday coming up and I couldn't afford it. And I'm like, what the fuck? Nigga, a flight from California to Atlanta is a shorter distance. Wouldn't it be cheaper for the ticket to be from there to there? So I'm like, okay, cool. So they playing all these games and shit. So then I'm like, all right, cool. I ain't even trip. I'm like, all right, say less. So I tell them the day I needed to be out. So they sent me back to Milwaukee, but all I did was find a way to get to Atlanta anyway on my own. I ended up catching a Greyhound here. I never even caught the Greyhound.